Welcome to One Woman, Three Views. We'll talk about sex, gender, social class, politics, education, even religion.
This joke that I heard where it says the husband comes home who's drunk. He's puked all on the floor of the bedroom and everything. He's knocked everything down, passes out. The wife puts him on the bed, is helping putting on his jammers. When she goes to take his pants, he says, "Hey lady, stop, I'm married." He wakes up and it says she's cleaned the house, she's made breakfast, everything. It says the husband then goes and asks the kid. He said, "Hey, what happened?" The kid says, "You came home drunk, you started knocking everything down, destroying stuff. When you falling on everything, you puked all over your room." And he said, "Well, why's your mom making breakfast?" And then the kid goes, "Because when she got to your pants, she said, 'Hey, I'm married.'" And at first when I heard it, I was like, "Oh, that is hilarious, ha ha ha." But it's the fact that if something were to happen, even if it was a wife, we always say that as a woman, even if you're married, no means no. But at what point it seems that can a man say no? You know what I mean? And a woman takes that serious. Also reminds me of in regards to abuse. When a man is being abused by a woman, if he was to call the police, 10 out of 10 times, they won't even take her away.
I could actually speak on that note.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, because I had an ex back in the day. You remember, I'm not going to disclose any names or anything of the nature, but she was completely abusive. And she used to try to hit me with everything that she could put her hands on, as far as a shoe, an extension cord, a pot, a pan. It did not matter. She would try to hit me with it or abuse me with it. And during the end of our relationship, I went to go collect some phones and stuff that I had bought that were actually my property, but she was just using them. And we ended up getting into an argument. She ended up destroying the apartment that she was at while I was trying to leave. And when I was leaving, I had called the police. The police were at the front door. Right as I was walking down the stairs, she pushes me down the stairs. My face eats the glass that's on the door. And the glass shatters just a little bit. It just not shatters, but it crackles. It kind of spider webs. And the police looked dead at me and they said, "Do you want to press charges?" I tell them yes. Then she comes out of the building. Nothing was done. But they saw her physically assault me. Nothing was done. To me, growing up in how, James Brown said it is a man's world. And a lot of the times that things are done to us, there's so many overwhelming numbers of the populace that say, you shouldn't worry about that, forget about it, crap happens, get over it. You're a man. But a lot of times it can psychologically damage a person. Because even though I am a man, I am still an individual. I still have feelings. I still have emotions. I am a person. I am who God made me to be. Now, just because I went through this situation, you shouldn't completely block my feelings and say, "Oh, well, you should do this because you're a man." It should be something that's opened up and talked about.
I think I'm about to speak on something that I never confided in my sisters on. The young lady that I was married to. Now, we were married for over 4 years. So we get into an argument, and I got to the point where I was ready to hit her. I'm like, I'll just remove myself. She had me blocked in. Her brother's car is at the end of the driveway. Him and his girlfriend just came up from Dallas. I'm like, "Yo, can you do me a favor?" I said, instead of getting to the point to where we're about to become physical with each other, can you just take me up to my sister's house real fast? He was like, "Sure, I got you. No problem." I go and get my cap. I'm ready to go. He's like, "You ready to go?" I'm like, "Yeah." Out of nowhere, I see her come from behind me. When I say she drew back from Mississippi and wailed and slapped me, it shocked me because I was like, my instinct was knock her out. And I'm like, her brother's standing too close to me. So if I hit her, he gonna hit me. And I turned my head. He was like, man, if you don't hit that. I was like, it shocked me because I'm like, dude, this is your sister you talking about. You want me to hit her? He was like, bro, she put herself in a man's position. I was like, I can't do it. So I mean, as time went on, the worse it got. And our last incident, it became where it got physical. She hit me with the cordless telephone, busted my lip. Okay, we got to pause for a second.
I feel where you at, though. I've been there, P. You know that. You know what I mean? And it's like, but see, I was taught different. I was taught from a woman. You know what I mean? Like, my mom and dad got divorced when I was 2, so you know, my mom took the helm on a lot. So, you know, I that's like the real difference between y'all's generation and my generation. Like, even on, you know, a woman put herself in a man's place, y'all still won't take yourself out of yourself and put her, you know, right. So with me being from my generation, a woman put her hands on you or anybody put her hands on you, I'm going to retaliate. Period, point blank. There ain't nothing past it. I'm going to retaliate. So, you know, that's the difference between y'all generation and my generation. But with me personally, like, I'm learning now when the heck to walk away.
It's tough.
And it's not the easiest decision to walk away.
Right.
You know, it's always hard. It's always going to be trying. It's always going to be a pain in the proverbial butt cheek to walk away.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm a firm believer that in some cases, sometimes you kind of bring that on yourself.
But like just going back to like with my generation, now you know, you always know what the right thing to do is, but it don't always happen because when somebody hits you in your face and it, you know, you blink, you know, all it takes is for a second for you to forget about what's right and what's wrong. A lot of it's react. You know, with men, we learn how to react. In order to survive, you have to be able to react to things quickly. So if somebody hits you in your eye to make you go like, oh, and your next instinct is you striking back. I mean, that's who we are as people. Now, another thing about with my generation, the man had a lot more control, and so a woman knew you better not put yourself in that situation because he can whoop your tail, and when the police come and be like, okay, fine, you know, you got to keep her in line. That's why I don't know how old the cops were when that happened to you. When you was talking about that, I was thinking those cops were probably a little bit older because they feel like, you know what, you should have had her under control better than that anyway. Because there was a time like when my father was young, look, you could do anything you wanted to your wife. Your wife was pretty much considered chattel. So they knew not to go past that line anyway because you're going to get your tail whooped. He might whoop you with a belt like one of the kids. And so the women didn't even try to go up to that line because they knew they really didn't have no rights. You know, the husband can do whatever he wants to you. And the police pretty much going to say, what did you do to provoke him? They're not going to come here and say, hey, we come here to protect this woman. That don't even started like in the last 25 or 30 years. Before then, your wife was your property. And so they kind of, women knew, hey, I better not provoke this dude because if he decides to beat me, I'm just going to be beat. Hopefully he don't kill me. And so now it's going all the way over to the other extreme now. And see, that's what I was telling some guys at work. So you got to understand, for a long time, there was a lot of abuse going on to women. They had no rights. They couldn't even get a divorce from their husband if he didn't let them get it. And so now we done went from that end to this other end to where it's like every little thing is just over amplified. And so I said it's going to take some while for us to get that balance because see, now we went from this extreme to this extreme. And I'll give you a perfect example, this thing with the Me Too movement. And Matt Damon, you know who Matt Damon is, very popular actor, blah, blah, blah. About 2 years ago, and it's like his career had been like put on hold. He said there has to be a nuance with this conversation about sexual harassment and rape and blah blah blah, because he was basically saying that a man who sexually harass you is not the same as a man who rapes you, and we should be able to say, okay, this guy should get, maybe he should get suspended from his job. Now, a guy that raped you, he should get the book thrown at him, whatever y'all want to do to him. And the Me Too movement was like, no, you can't even speak on that. If he sexually harassed you, you're going to treat this person the same way we treated that person. You can't do that. It has to be some variance. That's why we have different laws. It's a law for assault. It's a law for battery. It's a law for aggravated assault. But since all that abuse went on in the past, everything's so it's extreme now. If you do one thing that gets your toe on the line, they're ready to cut your foot off. And we got, and it's going to take a little bit of time for we to come back from that. But one thing I've always told women, if you truly want to have equal rights with men, we got to have the same rules. And when you hit a man, you put yourself in a man's place, you got to be able to deal with a man's consequences. And I know if I hit this man, it's on. If you hit that man in his face and he ain't going to accept it, you got to be willing to fight him like a man or take that whooping. And so, and I've had a lot of debates over the years with women about that one.
Okay.
And so, I'm gonna let Ray finish his story. Mm-hmm. And so, but we just, when you was talking earlier, I was thinking, I was like, when the cops came there and they saw that happen, they was probably like, man, he ain't got this woman under control. But he's from a different generation, and so he's trying to do the right thing. But y'all not even trying to restrain her, because I know women, and like you say, when you try to walk away from them, they try to escalate it. I done been spit on by women. It's like, the more you try to say, I don't want to hit you, they just feel like, oh, I'm going to make you hit me. You don't want to make me hit you, because I might not stop. At this point, it's a rage in me now that if it unleashes, it's gonna be bad for everybody. It's gonna be bad for you. It's gonna be bad for me. And they will just keep on, like, you punk, and talk about your mama and this everything. You'd be like, what did I do to deserve this? You like, but I got to remove myself from the situation as quick as I can, because I don't know how much longer I can control myself. I just, and they be right behind you too, boy, just kicking you.
And like you said, that on that day that I was talking about, we had gotten into an argument. Now, by this time, this police department got to know me so well. I was like, you know what? The bail bondsman that came and got me out the first 3 times, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to wire you or transfer $500 that I don't have to your account every time I get paid. And he was like, well, that's kind of stupid. I said, no. It's called I'm protecting myself, because I got her to a point where she was she was a spoiled brat. But I continued doing the things that I did when we were dating. So I spoiled you. I got you this way. I created that in my head. I created this monster. But when we got to the point that 4th time when I went to jail, the same 2 ladies that were in the booking department looked me in my eye and said, Mr. Graham, when are you going to say enough is enough? And I looked at them. I was like, what? They was like, Mr. Graham, you've been here 26 out of 30 days. I was like, I have? She said, I'm not saying it's a sad thing. You got accustomed to doing things so much, it's become your ritual. I was like, I got to get away. I broke camp for a week, left one out of town, came back, refreshed, came in, walked in the door, left my cell phone. This is before you could enter a password and lock your phone up, back in the old days, I call it. I went to the bathroom and never dawned on me. I was like, I'm in the house by myself. I never heard her come in. I'm in the bathroom. I come out. I looked in the room. I didn't see her. okay, maybe she went downstairs. I go back in the bedroom. I'm coming out. She coming back up the steps with the cordless telephone. She was like, oh, and you are who? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, who are you talking to? Oh, and then this is when I knew you got to be careful what you do and who you call. You got to be careful of the female friends that you have when you're in a marriage. You don't know. They know what's going on. I've talked to some of them. So this one particular female decided she wanted to just say whatever she felt. She didn't know who it was. Right. She was like, oh, yeah, I slept with your husband, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yo, dude, I know who you are. Stop playing. I'm like, this is me. This is, hey. Yeah. This is really my wife. Dog, stop playing. Right. By the time I said that, she had already drew back. Busted me right in my mouth. Brand new white tee. Blood came gushing out. I looked down, blood stain on the carpet, which I would. Now, mind you, on the carpet, I wasn't tripping. Right.
It's your blood, though. It's like what you tripping.
I'm looking down, I'm looking at the carpet like, blood on the carpet.
My teeth. Yeah.
And I looked at my shirt, and she was the only, and I even had to, I don't hate it. I meant to do what I did that day. Right. And as I looked at her again, she had drawn back a second time. I was like, Lord, forgive me. But now I'm in defense of myself. Yeah. And I hit her as hard as I could to get her away from me. I backed up out the house, got on the phone, and I called my mom. I was like, yo, I'm going to jail. And this time, I hit her.
I earned it.
I said, I don't even want you to come and get me.
Yeah, I own this one.
But I know as we're sitting here, I've never disclosed this to any of my sisters. Nobody in my family knew about this. It became, how in the did I get myself in this position? And how do I get myself out and never revert back to it?
Reminds me of a scene on Baby Boy where he's trying to leave the house. He's not even facing her. She's hitting him in the back. Mm-hmm. He raises his arm in protection to move her. It hits her, and then in that moment,
I'm like, hey.
Yeah, but he's pushing her away. It wasn't even in an intentional,
right.
I'm looking forward to hit you. And what got me is when I watched that movie and she froze as if, oh my goodness, I can't believe. And I believe she even says it in the movie. You hit me. You said you never hit me. I didn't hit you. Well, I moved you. And it reminded me of, it's not the same dynamics, but I remember a so-called friend of mine, female friend of mine, was over my house, and we had kind of gotten in an argument, and she lived in Manhattan, Kansas, so it's not like she could just up and go or whatever. So I told her, I said, you know what? Because she had a key to my house. Like I said, we were cool. So I was like, let me get my house key. That way, whenever you leave, you can leave in the morning because I know you got to drive home. And I'm going to go in my room and you can sleep on the couch and, you know, like I said, leave in the morning. When she was like, well, no, I'm not giving you your key. Oh. I reached to her keys. Now, she's on the other side of the room. I'm not even near her. I grab her keys. I'm trying to get my key. She has on stilettos, kicks me right in my leg and drags her heel down my leg.
Ouch.
I don't even knock her out the chair. I go in my room because her bag was in my room. I take her bag, I throw it out the room. I said, now you got to go. I don't even care if you take the key, but you got to go now because I don't know what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? And I'm not a violent person. Even as a woman, I would say, in my mind, I know I have a right to defend myself and knock your head off. But at the same time, I'm just trying to diffuse the situation. Get you out of here. Well, I see her running up. Like I said, I threw her bag out. Nothing flew out. Nothing crazy. She's running up. I rear back, knock her head off. Bam. You're not going to run up on me. And again, I'm not stating I'm a man or anything of that nature, but I know the fear I had of what do I do? As a woman, I've had fights with other women, other females. But in that moment, and as an adult, I was like, wait a minute. I thought we were cool. What is going on here? I'm not used to this. Right. I'm not used to someone being aggressive towards me in this manner. And why? All because I want my key. So I'm saying that from a woman's perspective of, I can only imagine what a man would go through of, as being the alpha, being normally the aggressor, and having that person be aggressive to you in a manner that makes no sense.
It was honestly hard to even open up to even say that right now. But I'm comfortable with the skin I'm in. Right. I know where I've been, and I know where I am now.
And it's something that, you don't hear a lot of men actually come out and speak on. That's why this subject alone is touchy. You know what I mean? Because we as men, we try to be, most of us try to be as peaceful as we can, because peace is a very, very big thing that we need, in that we ask from our partners. We need peace, because anytime we step out of our doors to go to work, to just go do whatever, we are at war. Every time we step outside, And to hear that coming from another man, let alone an uncle, is very impactful. You know what I mean? Because it tells me that I didn't go through this by myself. He went through it. You didn't go through it by yourself, because I went through it. You went through it. As men, we all share the same things.
We just don't have that outlet.
Right. We don't have an outlet to talk about it. And it's so, I hate to use the word, but it's so taboo for us to do so.
Because it's like if you admit to weakness, if you admit you was vulnerable, and anybody can. A lot of it's about just being vulnerable. Everybody have a moment where somebody can catch you off guard and you vulnerable. But we don't even. Well, only women are vulnerable, not men. Everybody can be vulnerable. And like I said, just by us talking about this now, it's bringing up stuff that because when something happened to you as a man, okay, I can't talk about this. You swallow that stuff.
That's how we were taught, though.
Yeah,
oh, you got hit in the face. You better not cry. You better suck it up.
And sometimes you suck up the wrong stuff, because it's gonna play itself out in your subconscious in different ways.
It has.
But see, that's why I let my son cry it out. Throughout it all, if he hurts himself, he cries it out.
Right.
Because now, as me being a man and seeing so much death in my life, losing my grandmother, my uncles, my aunts, losing so many people close to me, I can only go to so many funerals and not shed a tear.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And trying to be strong for the family. I'm sorry, P, but trying to be strong for the family is BS, because I got feelings too.
Right.
And as much as things hurt, being a young man and being taught to bury things while you're 4, 5 years old, when you really first start to really, understand. Right.
Personality.
Right, and then you get taught that you got to bottle things. It really makes life hard, and my son, I don't want him to bottle anything. If he needs to talk to me about anything, come and talk to me,
Talk to somebody.
Right.
Talk to somebody you can trust that ain't going to pass judgment on.
True.
Somebody that's going to listen to you.
True.
Because all the people that I consider my friends, I can talk to them about anything, and there's no judgment. Sometimes you need to let somebody just talk to about stuff to be like, okay, all right, well, man, what you gonna do? And that's why my friendship with people, I said, look, man, if you just want to just talk, to just say whatever, that's it. I don't, I'm not here to interpret what you said. Sometimes you just need to just get it out. Just get it out for one person, be like, okay, I got this out, because as men, we walk around with all that, and this is why our life expectancy is lower. Because it gives you high blood pressure, hypertension, stroke, trying to deal with all that stuff on your own.
And the main cause of it is because of stress, because you're stressing yourself out.
Stress will kill you quicker than anything else.
And I mean, it's been a scientific study, not to make things about race or anything, but it was a scientific study done that states, that stress is the main killer of black men.
Yeah.
You know, because we stress out about so much, because we don't have outlets to like really go and speak to somebody about what's going on or about how we feel. And a lot of times, you know, when we do know that we have outlets as far as seeing a psychologist or something like that, that makes you feel crazy going to go see a psych about something when my problem is with you and I should be able as a man to come to you and speak about my problem. You know, but when you're being, I'm not passive, but when you're just being just straight, just, oh, I don't want to hear it, I don't care, then that makes us shut down and go into our ball, and we actually think about it more than what we were, because first off, I got this problem, I can't get it out. Now that I'm trying to talk to the person I got the problem with, they don't want to hear it, so now it just reverts it back upon you. And all you're doing is replaying it in your head. And when you replay it in your head a good 10, 15 times, now you become a prisoner to that situation, because now you're a prisoner in your own mind because you can't think of anything else but the situation that you're in. So when that happens, you can't really physically get out of the rut that you're in to do anything different, to think differently, to say differently. You're stuck in this rut with whether, you know, whatever your sexuality is, the man, the woman, the trans, whatever. Now you're stuck in this rut with this person, you know, and there's no way of getting out of this rut because this person doesn't want to communicate with you. So now what is the appropriate action to do? You remove yourself from that situation. The other person gets angry and aggressive that you want to remove yourself from the situation. And then you're then put in front of the complexity of being a man again. Do I go ahead and put my hands on this person so they know to back the hell away? Or do I walk away and still get spat on, kicked on, and hit on when I know it's wrong? And if I turn around and then put my hands on this person, being as how the United States has become a mommy oasis. The United States is a mother's oasis because now, you know, because we are in that whole array of, you know, the men and back in the day, the women were the men's property. Now the women have their own freedoms, and now women take they take so much and they try to avert and try to get so much power. But a lot of men don't want a power struggle. We want somebody that we can share the power with, that we can, you know, be comfortable with, that we can do 50-50 with. And we all know that in a relationship, everything is not 50-50. Somebody has to take the 80, somebody has to do the 20, somebody has to take the 60, somebody has to do the 40, but it all has to work together. Right. You know, and the biggest thing why men go through what we go through and a lot nowadays, I can honestly blame on TV and some of the things that are out there, because it teaches the new generation of women and the women that are still coming up in their 20s and their early 30s, they don't take responsibility for their actions. It's always because what we did or what we said or how we did things, and it's jumbled. You know, so that's why we can't come to you and say, hey, this is what happened in my past. You know, I would like to be treated this way. I would like for this to happen. But when we do that, we're seen and we're looked at as not being men. So it's like, do I take the Ike Turner approach and come across your head? Because, you know,
He can take anime, he can
right.
It's like, you know, what you're basically saying is that they want the alpha male, but then you really can't. If you want the alpha male, you're not going to be able to control him. True. The alpha male is the alpha male, and so if that's what you really want, you got to accept what your role's going to have to be in order to coexist with the person, because you both can't be alpha males. It don't work that way. That's why the both, you know, with a magnet, right? Somebody at different times. True. Some things you're gonna be aggressive on, some things you're gonna be submissive on, and so it's got to be a give and take.
It's also a learning curve within the male, because you know a lot of times the male is like, oh, I'm the dominant one. What I say goes, and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, the truth of the reality is that, you know, all men are created equal, whether man or woman. So we both have a say. Right. everybody has to learn the point of when to be dominant and when to be submissive.
You guys make some great points, and I want to thank you all for being vulnerable with these topics. I know they were definitely hard. Very much so. I mean, yeah. But I do want to, so I want to thank each of my guests for appearing today, being just as vulnerable and open with these various topics, and also shedding light, not just to myself, but hopefully to viewers, whether male or female. If you are seeking help, I do want men to definitely know from a woman's perspective that you are now being heard. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to One Woman, Three Views podcast, and tune in every Saturday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time.